Ronaldo Fenômeno was one of the most complete players in the history of soccer. We're talking about a boy who, even before he arrived at Barcelona, was already a monster, a player who won his first Ballon d'Or at the age of 20. Ronaldo Fenômeno was a terror to any defender in the world. Nobody could stop him because he was complete. He was the best we faced. You can ask any defender of my era, and they'll agree. Ronaldo Fenômeno was a complete fright. "We didn't sleep when we went up against him," said Maldini, one of the greatest defenders in history. Everything Ronaldo did was phenomenal. Unfortunately, there are no more players like him today. "When I started out, I was inspired by him. For me, he was the best," said Ibrahimovic. When he came on the pitch, everyone knew he would do something amazing. A star, a genius, a phenomenon. One of the greatest Brazilian strikers of all time lived through brilliant moments, absurd dramas, and a comeback worthy of a movie script. He had to overcome injuries and wait, but his beginnings were more difficult than you might think. Do you think he's ever been turned down because he's too much of a mess? Ronaldo was born in Itaguaí, Rio de Janeiro. From an early age, he loved playing football. "I'd always find him in the street playing football when he should have been at school." "I know. I lost my fight," said Sonia dos Santos, Ronaldo's mother. "He was a fanatic about the ball and would skip school without the slightest problem just to play football with his friends in the street." At school, Ronaldo didn't do well and preferred playing to studying. He ended up earning the nickname Monica, but his fame would come from the quality of his footwork. Valqueire Tennis Club made him an offer to become a member of the team, but there was only a vacancy as a goalkeeper. Ronaldo didn't even think about it. He knew it was an opportunity, and he was going to take it anyway. Once he was at the club, he would find a way to show that his position was in attack. As expected, a goalkeeper for Ronaldo was a waste. Coach Marquinhos decided to go radical and put him in charge of the team's attack, which was last in the Youth Futsal Championship. The result, in the first game against league leaders Vasco, Ronaldo scored 4 goals and Valqueire won 5-4. That match attracted the attention of Social Ramos, a more traditional club that was also competing in the Metropolitan Championship. When he was 12, Ronaldo went to Social Ramos. He had always credited his skills to futsal. When he arrived at the club, he immediately charmed the team's coach, Alirio Carvalho, who said years later, what was special about Ronaldo was his attitude. He seemed to have come from the moon. Nothing fazed him. Nothing took him out of the game. And that was true. From an early age, he was already showing that he was off the mark. In one game, his team scored 12 goals, 11 of which were his. From an early age, he was already breaking records. 166 goals in his first season with the club. How could such a small child do that? Tell me. But Ronaldo wanted to follow in the footsteps of his great idol, Zico. He wanted to play for Flamengo, his club of heart. If he got a place at the club, he would be paid well and wouldn't have to worry about school anymore. Ronaldo found out the day of the tryout and the time. He took 2 buses to get to Gavia. He took the test and even passed, but he didn't think that every time he had to go to training, he would have to take 2 buses. He couldn't afford it, even though he was at Flamengo, so he gave up the venture. Social Ramos made a deal with São Cristóvão to take their star player, and Ronaldo went. What he didn't know was that this would be his main stage until his first transfer. Jairzinho, a genius on the ball, saw Ronaldo play and was speechless at the young player's technique, speed and finishing. His first move was to call his friends Reinaldo Pita and Alexandre Martin. The 2 of them bought the boy's pass for $7,500. Their idea was to try and take Ronaldo to São Paulo or Botafogo, but they had no luck. One club said he was too clumsy, and another said he was too expensive. He spent 2.5 years playing in the youth system at São Cristóvão, where he scored 44 goals in 73 games. In 1993, Ronaldo was called up to play in the South American Under-17 Championship with the Brazilian national team. Despite the failure, Brazil finished 4th and missed out on the World Championship for the first time in their history. The striker saved himself and was the competition's top scorer with 8 goals. That was enough to attract the attention of Cruzeiro, and shortly afterwards, the striker arrived in Belo Horizonte to start shining. The team from Minas Gerais agreed to pay $50,000 for 55% of the player's economic rights. He was still only known as Ronaldo Luis. At first, Ronaldo played for Cruzeiro's youth team, but he soon stood out, so much so that Coach Pinheiro decided to give him the opportunity to make his debut in the Mineiro Championship. In the packed Mineirão, the fans witnessed what would one day become the best player in the world, but at the time he was just a shy boy who, on the pitch, turned into a monster. At that moment, Ronaldo understood that he either had to make it in soccer or his life would be over. After all, he had dropped out of school to focus on soccer. We know that's not right, but put yourself in his shoes. He was just a 16-year-old kid with the responsibility of helping out his very poor family. He was literally on his own in BH, on top of the pressure of having to be a great player. School took up a lot of his time. He also accompanied Cruzeiro in the 1993 Copa do Brasil final against Grêmio. Ronaldo watched the title from the dressing rooms. After that, Cruzeiro toured Europe, and he scored his first professional goal for the club against Belenenses. During the trip, he aroused a lot of interest wherever he went. Then the first offer for Ronaldo arrived. Inter Milan offered $500,000 for him, but the managers knew he was worth much more, so they turned it down. Ronaldo also played in the 1993 Brasileiro, scored 12 goals, and was the competition's third top scorer, and his name was beginning to resonate in Brazil. Ronaldo at PSV, the start of a legend. When Ronaldo was appointed to PSV Eindhoven, the club's coach, known for being explosive, declared, "We don't need this Ronaldo. We already have Claire." Indeed, Claire was a great player and had scored 22 goals that season. But Ronaldo, at just 18, would soon prove that he was on another level. Arriving in Holland, Ronaldo was greeted without fans and already faced suspicion from the local press, who questioned the high price paid for an unknown player. During an interview, he was asked how many goals he thought he would score. "I don't know, about 30, he replied confidently. The media laughed, and so did he. But Ronaldo didn't keep that promise. He surpassed it. In his first season, he scored 35 goals and also contributed assists. Even amid doubts, his debut was overwhelming. In his first game, he scored 1 goal. In the second, 2. In the third, a hat trick. With each match, Ronaldo made it clear that he was a genius in the making. His incredible performances even caught the eye of soccer legends like Beckenbauer, who declared, "Today we meet the new Pelé." In his first season at PSV, Ronaldo scored 35 goals in official competitions, becoming one of the top scorers in Dutch soccer in such a short space of time. The fans and the media, who had previously doubted him, were now surrendered. Challenges and injuries. Despite his brilliant performances, Ronaldo's career would face its first major obstacle: knee injuries. After suffering several knocks in the Champions League, he was sidelined for a month. Insistent and passionate about soccer, Ronaldo returned before he had fully recovered, which led to another, even more serious injury. Even so, he quickly returned to the pitch and, in just 5 games, scored 8 goals. Ronaldo never hid his determination. In interviews, he revealed, "A phenomenon can't stop scoring goals. I had to play." This mentality drove him on, but it also took a toll on his physical health, tension at the club, and the Olympics. During the 1996 Olympics, Ronaldo scored 5 goals, but Brazil were eliminated in dramatic fashion by Nigeria. Despite this, he was spared criticism by the media, who recognized his greatness. During the tournament, Ronaldo received a surprise visit from Juan Gaspar, president of Barcelona, which marked the beginning of a new phase in his career. At PSV, the relationship with coach Dick Advocaat was strained. Ronaldo wanted to be a starter, but the coach preferred to keep him on the bench. This led to conflict, and the Brazilian star didn't hide his dissatisfaction. He even said he would play for Barcelona for free, so keen was he to leave the club. Goodbye to PSV. Barcelona finally broke their signing record and paid $19.5 million for Ronaldo. Before leaving, he thanked PSV and their fans. He played 57 games and scored 54 goals, an impressive tally that cemented his reputation as a soccer phenomenon. Despite not being the club's greatest idol, a title reserved for Romario, Ronaldo left an undeniable mark on PSV's history. He went beyond anyone's expectations and proved that he was destined to be a legend. His time at PSV was the start of a trajectory that would enchant the world, leading him to Barcelona, his first Ballon d'Or, and even more incredible chapters in his career.